hope you enjoyed the first session from Praga Cars. And we now move on to the next session, which is getting into motorsport. And I'm welcome to join today by Dave Woodall from OpenTrack, James Winstanley from 750 Motor Club, and Ben Hyland from Want2Race and Janetta. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing?
All good.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, very well, very well. Well, let's kind of kick off. I mean, getting into motorsport is such a big topic, and a lot of people feel pretty much out in the dark and not quite sure where to begin. And everything can start from doing an auto solo, from doing a sprint race to doing esports. But TrackDays is obviously one of the a great route into the sport. So, Dave, we'll actually start with your good self. You've obviously been running TrackDays for 10 years now. What advice do you have somebody that's new coming into doing a track day?
Oh, I suppose it's just have fun, really. Essentially, TrackDays, the whole idea is you can just come along with a group of friends or just by yourself. They're quite sociable, and there's no timing, there's no competitive element to it, really. And you just come along and have fun. Essentially, you can drive your road car, around the track. You don't have to worry about buses, grannies, dogs, getting done for speeding, anything like that. There's all the rules and regulations on the track, but essentially it's just for fun. So you get all types. You get people turning up with cars that they've invested maybe £2,000 or £3,000 in, and you get people that turn up in £200,000 cars. So it can be anyone and everyone, but the main thing is just come on a track day, enjoy yourself. You do find a lot of people then switching over later and doing days as well. But yeah, just have fun. It's there to enjoy. So that's the main thing, really.
Yeah, definitely. Well, to be honest, I was probably one of those that came from TrackDays and a little bit of karting in my early days into motorsport. So I certainly feel it's a good route. But talk about what's the kind of costs for doing a track day for someone bringing their own car, and also what kind of circuit would you advise?
Okay, so with us, you can get on track from as little as say £100. You can do an evening in the summertime. We go to Bedford, Donington, Brands Hatch. I think they're about £100, £129. During the summer, that'll give you 4 hours on track. So they sort of start at 5:30 and finish at 8:30. So essentially, you can spend as little or as much as you want, really, but you can get on track for about, your actual track time is about £120 odd, say. Then there's a bit of fuel, there's getting there, there's your car. So really, if you go out and you're quite careful, you can buy, I always say if you want a rear wheel drive car, and you're just starting out, get an MX-5. If you want something front wheel drive, I get a Renault Clio. To be honest, you can't beat them. I always have a bit of a joke about Clios, but you can buy a Clio for £2,000-3,000, have it as a track car, and then spend a bit of money, maybe brakes, suspension, that type of thing. And so the financial cost you can probably get on the track and start, you can probably buy a car and do a whole year's track days for sort of £4,000, something like that, really, I think, if you're careful with your money. And, start off with an evening, or Bedford's a really good circuit, if you're just starting out, because of course it's got huge runoff. So if you make a mistake, it's highly unlikely you're going to come into contact with anything. I think days at Bedford during the winter time, there's nothing wrong with doing a track day today. It's a beautiful day. If you're out there today, it's ideal. You'd probably pay about £140, £130 for a day on track today. So, it's 8 hours on track, for a full day for that money. You can't really compare it to many other sports, really.
No.
It gets you out there.
Yep, no, definitely. Well, Ben, let's jump on to you with Want2Race. Now, you obviously offer track days as well, but you've got car hire, you've got a scholarship, you've got storage. But, what can Want2Race and how can Want2Race help newcomers into the sport?
Thanks, Ben. We welcome everyone. Obviously, as the name suggests, we welcome people into motorsport, and then through the track days and the events that we run, scholarship days, things like that, we then progress people into racing, and that's a choice. Not everyone does it, but through Janetta, we're part of the Janetta automotive group, and part of that group we've got quite a wide range of products and services to help people through that journey. And whether you stick with the track days, or you you get your race license and get into racing, then we can help.
Perfect, good stuff. Okay, so with your kind of experience of cars, especially with Ginetta, there's pretty much everything available, and we got a couple of pictures actually of the few of the cars that you have. So do you want to kind of talk us through those? Yeah,
so we just wanted to talk a little bit about our latest car. So it's called the G55 GTA. It's based on the well-known Super Cup GT4 chassis and car. Slightly detuned, Ben, so bit more cost effective. Really reliable track day focused car that will, for £60,000, run rings round something that's literally twice its value. Lower running costs. Runs on a Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tyre. Paddle shift, Motec colour dash. It's air conditioning. So really, really nice, rewarding, balanced car to drive. And that's something that we've just launched this year, and we're already nearly up to 20 deposits down on those since August when we launched it. Customers that we're attracting are the sort of high-end track day supercar, sports car owner. And then through Ginetta, we've added on what's called GT Academy. So it's our latest race series. And as part of that, whether you're an experienced racer, you can enter GT Academy. And we now have a rookie package. So if you buy the car, add on the rookie package, through ourselves and Ginetta, we fully support the driver through driver coaching, track days, test days, 5 race weekends on British GT and touring car package. So a real premium entry-level race series, and all the support that goes behind that. So if you're new to it, we'll just help you through that journey and make sure that your first year on track racing is one that's really, really good fun and well spent.
Fantastic. No, well, good to hear. Well, it's a shame that normally we would be at Silverstone and you would have a couple of garages to show people what they can actually do. But obviously, we'll be back next year, and you'll be joining us so people can do that. James, let's jump onto you as a club. You've got 23 different championships available to all levels of people. Talk us through a little bit about the club. I mean, we will have a one-on-one a bit later on where you can talk in a bit more detail. But I guess for new people coming into the sport, how can 750 Motor Club help?
Yeah, well, I mean, probably the first thing that I would kind of say in terms of getting involved at club level in motorsport is probably sort of following on from what Dave said about track days, is that coming along to a club race meeting and getting a feel for it is quite an important thing. Apart from this year, obviously things have been a bit different. The paddock's generally very open. Drivers are always very keen to talk about their racing, their car, how they came into it, and a lot of them have come in from track days. But one thing that we always try and get across is that there's no sort of big upfront fee package that you always have to sign up to with club level series and championships. So if you've got a track day car, if you are building it towards kind of race regulations, it's always worth keeping an eye on 750 formulae that it might be eligible for when you're building and doing track days. And once you've got your racing license, you can come in and get involved. You don't have to come and do a whole season straight away. If you've only got kind of budget or time for 1-2 races a year, do track days, do a couple of track days, a couple of races every year. We get a lot of people doing that. You don't have to commit to the whole season and kind of the costs and commitment that's associated with that. So just getting people along and seeing how it all works, and not being afraid to ask any questions. There's a lot to take in when you have to take the first step into starting racing, because you've got your license, you've got your car prep, and kind of the admin that goes with it. But we're kind of here to help. We've got people can ring the office, come and see us at a race meeting. contact us through Facebook or email, and go through any questions, and quite used to kind of guiding people through. But I would say that the number one thing is to come along, have a look at the series and championships, see what you like the look of. If you've got a car, ask and have a look at regulations, see what it might be eligible for. But chances are we have a series or championship that you can drop right into.
No, definitely. Again, I couldn't, more than echo that. When I first started racing many years ago, I went to a lot of the paddocks and kind of spoke to drivers and spoke to people like yourselves just to kind of understand where I'd need to be. But I guess one of the big questions that people have is like the cost, and they're instantly scared about it. But you've got some really cost-effective championships for people.
Yeah, so generally in terms of sort of club racing, the different championships are generally priced reasonably similar, because it's in terms of the minutes you're spending on track. There's obviously volume changes when you go up for endurance racing, but it depends on the circuit. But race entry fees, they are more expensive than track days, and certainly for kind of the time involved. But we never use the word cheap, because it's cars, it's motorsport, it's never really going to be cheap. But we do what we can to make it as affordable as possible, and also to be as affordable as possible to be competitive. Things like we have a lot of formulae where we have power to weight bandings for different classes instead of capacity classes, for example. So it's a much fairer way to ensure that you can kind of regulate a class without undue spending. We want competitors to be spending money on the racing, not on chasing the last kind of couple of horsepower. And the club, 750 Motor Club, we have our own mobile rolling road, which is it's a good investment and a good way to kind of police that. But as a general kind of guide, a double header entry fee for a weekend would be between kind of £260 and £350, depending on the circuit. Obviously, the more expensive circuits carry a slight premium, but that's your kind of guide. And then club memberships, £25 for 12 months, and a typical series registration is £90, and a championship is £135. But as I kind of said before, there's no minimum you have to sign up to. You can just do that once, twice a year. We have got a new package for our Type R trophy, which includes the car and all your season costs for the year, which is available for just over £10,000 for a licence holder, and kind of 12 if you want all the kit and the ARS test as well. But there's no obligation to kind of do this as a whole package.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, some good information for people there. One of the key areas is obviously insurance, and that comes up quite a lot. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to be joined by Andy from Grove and Dean Motorsport Insurance. They've got a few technical issues. So welcome to the world of virtual events. But I know Andy was all very, very keen for and me as well, because hindsight's a wonderful thing in motorsport, and accidents happen very quickly. But Dave and Ben, when you start going to events across Spa, what's different to the UK is that you have to pay for arm cove barriers and things like that. So what would you kind of warn people that were first time that going out to do a track day at Spa, for example? Dave, if we start with you.
I'd say stay on track, basically, in a nutshell. So essentially, Spa's a great circuit. We've actually not had any issues there with anyone being billed, and we've been quite lucky. I think they have a bit of flexibility where if you just touch a barrier, you're okay. But if you touch a barrier and take out 20 feet, then you will get landed with a huge bill, I would imagine. But we've not actually had a bill as yet. If you go to Spa, it's such a large circuit with being an F1 circuit. Of course, you've got plenty of runoff and everything like that. I think it's on YouTube. I've crashed there. I didn't get a bill, which was good. My car was a bit bent. And the other one at Puon, I went off there and had such a big runoff. I could have had a cup of tea in the time that it took to regather the car and get back on the track, to be honest. We did have an experience last year. We went to Bilsterberg up in northern Germany, and there was a local driver who hit a barrier, hit an arm co, and I think his bill was about €2,000. So yeah, I think insurance is a pretty good idea if you're starting to go abroad, that type of thing. If you can get cover for sort of third-party sort of furniture damage, as they would call it, on the track. But even in general, if you're going to take your car on track, you don't have to insure it. There's no golden rule to say, you must insure your car to come on a track day. I think that would hit a lot of drivers actually paying maybe between £110 and £150, £200 even. for insurance on a day, that would probably stop a lot of people doing it if it was a compulsory thing you had to do. But I do think that if you've got a nice car, there is always the, I've seen it. We've had a case a few years ago at Snetterton where a chap had a 911. He had bought it for investment purposes. Literally just was bringing it on a track day just to have a go to see what it was like on track before putting it away into storage. And it was a lovely 4-litre RS. And he went backwards into the Armco and wrote the car off. Chatting to him at the end of the day, it wasn't insured. So, there's anyone who says, oh no, it won't happen to me, there's always the chance. And if you've got something that's worthwhile, shop around for insurance. Some policies, if you're I've got a Porsche, I'm with a Porsche specialist, I get 6 track days free included in my road insurance for the year, and I only pay £240 a year to insure it on the road. But that's generally because I'm an old bugger, to be honest. But that's worth its weight in gold. But I think when you move into maybe the element of some of Ben's customers that have more performance-orientated cars, I definitely would be insuring them, because it's probably worthwhile, because there's a lot more to go wrong, really. But yeah, it's a subjective thing. But if you can afford to do it, it's always probably worthwhile getting some insurance. And there's lots of companies out there that'll deal with it for you. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, well, as the prompt just kind of shows there, if anyone's got any questions to ask these guys, then feel free to do so on the motorsportdays.com page, and I'll happily put them in front of them. But Ben, have you got anything else to say there, or you kind of echo those points, really?
Well, me and Dave have yet another thing in common, that I've also crashed at Spa. Yeah, and I was insured. I mean, like Dave says, I think it's all down to the level of investment that you've got into the car and the risk that you're wanting to take. Some tracks are slightly more notorious or risky than others. Track days are inherently, and touch wood, very, very safe. As APDU members, obviously, we're all recognised by the insurance board. So if you're coming into doing track days, go with a provider that's an APDU member, and your car, usually, like Dave says, through sometimes your own road policy, you have an allocation of track days. And if you're with an approved track day organizer, that's just a no-brainer to notify them, and then you've got cover. On the race side, I would always say insure. It's actually costs in the budget for the year. It's not a huge number as part of that budget, but it just gives you that protection that if you get involved in somebody else's hot-headedness or accident, it just means that you've got a bit of security and protection, that your car can get rebuilt. The team or ourselves, whoever's looking after you, can get the parts and get the car back on the track, and you'll be racing either at the next next race that weekend, or certainly the next event. And for a lot of us, when you're racing, you want to complete that full series or event that you've committed to.
Yeah, of course. No, definitely. Well, probably one of the other things which also helps with the insurance side is instruction. And I know, Dave, on your days, that's something that you're always pushing quite a lot, but also going into racing as well. James, you'll probably recommend that, again, newcomers that take to the first weekend of racing, that they do take on board some kind of tuition and learn from the experts who have been there.
Absolutely. I mean, it would be the number one way to kind of spend any additional budget that you kind of wanted to put towards your racing before your season or before your journey into racing started. The difference that a good instructor can make, even half a day on a track day, is massive. And not just from there's the safety point of view, but just bringing you on as a driver. They will kind of look and kind of see how you respond and see how you get on yourself, and then they will find ways to make you improve a lot quicker than you really will realize. And I know with definitely that kind of fundamental almost a sort of an ego thing, where people don't necessarily always want help straight away and want to kind of find their feet in a car. But instructors are there at all levels, right the way up to the very top of motorsport, and people driving at any championship will always benefit from it, whether you're a complete novice coming into a tin top or a top level single seater driver. Instruction is always available, always worthwhile, and we would definitely recommend it.
Okay, and then Dave, so go back to you there. You obviously include that with people like Mike Wilds, who have got a lot of experience and can really help improve drivers, but in a lot of time it almost slows them down to speed them up in a way.
Yeah. So on all the days, you can get not insurance, you can get a tuition with us free. So essentially, we've done that ever since we started, because I think essentially, if you can get rid of your bad habits, if you've got some bad habits and the instructor hops in with you and goes, look, you should be doing this or what have you, it'll help you along. Essentially, it doesn't cost a lot, in the grand scheme of things, instruction. With us it's free. You get like half an hour or what have you. And we have three main ones. We have Mike Wilds, Caitlin Wood, and then Martin Sisney. So they're all ARDS instructors, and they all know what they're doing. And essentially, it'll make you faster, it'll make you smoother, and it'll make you safer as well, because you can anticipate things a bit more. I do find it funny when people turn up with wings the size of a small child, stuck on the back of the car and things like this. And and they're like, oh, I need to improve this and what have you. And I'll spend thousands on brakes, often thousands on aero and stuff like this. And then they get in with an instructor and they're suddenly 2-3 seconds quicker after half an hour's instruction. And they would have probably been that much quicker without spending all their money. So I think if you're going to book an instructor, it's well worth it, paying an instructor for your own tuition. But then, as I say, if you want some offers, it's free. But yeah, it's worth its weight in gold, really, to be honest. I think it's one of the best things you can get. Just help you, give you more confidence as well. I think, especially if you're new to it. There's nothing worse, I suppose, really, than being sort of, your first track day and you head out onto a track after the sighting laps and you're just wanting to get a feel of your feet, and there's people that have been doing it 10 years flying around the outside of you. With an instructor, they can just give you a few pointers where you might just change your line, and that can help you around one corner that will lead into another and another. So it all adds up, really. I think it's perfect stuff.
Okay, well, we're nearly out of time, so I just got one quick fire question to each of you. If there's one bit of advice that you would give to a newcomer into doing either a track day or racing, what would it be? So, if Ben, if we start with you, put you on the spot.
One bit of advice, just I'd say get some sound advice from people who've done it for a while. So there are companies, groups, organisations like the guys on the panel here, who we've all been around for a while, and we provide a service and a product or a series or a car for a reason, and it's aimed at a particular person. For us, our advice obviously is to try and get a package where things are all included, so making it as easy as possible. So the GTA, for example, it's everything from storage, transport, your track days, your testing, tuition in the car, prep on the car. So yeah, that's just do your homework, and obviously budget's a big issue, and work within the realms of the budget as well. Okay,
thank you, Ben. James?
I don't know if there's a slightly cheating answer, but I think my response would definitely be to make sure that you do it, because we can pretty much kind of guarantee that you won't have a regret. If you're interested in track driving, if you've done track days and want to make the jump to racing, or you've always dreamed of kind of going racing but always thought it was out of reach, pursue it. Like we kind of say, you only have to get somebody on the grid once, and that's kind of job done in many ways, because generally 99.9% of people absolutely love every minute of it. And it's not just the racing, the whole motorsport world is a very friendly place. You're surrounded by people with a very similar interest. If you've got an interest in cars in general as well, there's that kind of runs alongside. And yeah, a great place to be. Paddock generally a very friendly 750 Motor Club paddock. It's a place where people bring their family. It's a weekend away. And it's more than just kind of those minutes you have on track. And yeah, everybody generally thoroughly is addicted at the end of their first race weekend, and don't regret kind of the perhaps the expense or the time commitment that they needed to get involved. And yeah, you won't regret it.
Perfect. And then Dave.
Well, I suppose I should say 3 things really. I should be really naughty and go always book with OpenTrack. There we go, is one of them. but apart from that, really, in all honesty, just enjoy yourself and have a good time. You'll make loads of new friends, even if you just turn up on your first day by yourself. By the time you leave, you'll have a handful of people that you'll know with the same car. You'll have a chat and you'll make some new friends. Just enjoy it, and it's a real sociable thing, no matter if you're doing track days for £99 in the evening or if you end up going off to do a championship in the race series. You'll have fun whatever you do, really. So, just go and do it. A bit like James said there, just go and do it and have fun. Otherwise, you'll end up working, and when you're 75, you'll think, oh God, I should have done that. And then, although I shouldn't say that because Mike's 75, I was such like he's done a fair bit. But basically, yeah, just go do it. That's, you're never going to regret it, and at least you tried it. So, and have fun. That's it, really.
Absolutely. Well, there's the best advice from these guys. Just go do it, and you can make sure that you contact these guys either to book on your next track day or do your first race weekend. Then we've got some more information up on our website. But thank you very much, all 3 of you, for being part of this today. Really appreciate it. And we'll go to a short break now, but when we come back, it will be about diversity and equality in motorsport. And we've got the rest of the sessions for this afternoon. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Performance Box Touch is not only a super accurate performance meter, it can also be used as a sophisticated predictive lap timer, using GPS rather than distance to allow you to accurately compare how your current lap time compares with your fastest, corner by corner. Quick and easy to install, it automatically identifies the circuit you are driving on and loads the relevant track maps from our extensive database. Using a performance box for the first time, VW Classic Championship racer Dan Rose talks us through how he benefited from the system's bright delta speed LEDs on track.
Yeah, a few times you'd go in and basically it would come up green, so you thought, yeah, and then mid-bend it was really sort of pushing on a bit, and you'd come out and you was red, so you had to get the balance right of going in and getting the green going in and the green coming out, so you knew that was the best way through there.
Using a lap timer mode, Dan was able to monitor how modifications to his car affected his performance on track.
Like changing the roll bars, we could see that we're a couple of seconds slower straight away and that certain areas it's not working. And then when you flick back, it's working and it shows up on the times and also in your sectors. So the predictive lap times really work.
Given a quick lesson on the Circuit Tools data analysis software to pinpoint exactly where time is being lost and then going through his data from the day, Dan said,
Looking back at the data now, we're a bit further on in the day. We can see that certain lines worked, certain lines didn't. Carrying a bit more speed into the first bend seems to have given us a bit more pace. And also we can look at different sectors where in a couple of laps I was quicker, but actually putting all those sectors together so that they work, which we've looked at, and then we'll go back out and have another go. But so far we've gained 2 or 3 seconds throughout the day, which has really worked well with us. So when we come back racing, we should be up there.
Hi, Chris Dawes here. I've stepped away from the commentary box for a change and I'm in front of the camera because this time I'm talking about my business, Open Doors Training. Founded by myself as a project of passion because I felt so lucky that I get paid to do the things I do now. Commentating, hosting awards, voiceover artist, TV, radio, podcasts, live shows, you name it, all of those things are an absolute privilege, especially when I came from someone who was paralysed by fear when I had to present at university and when I first went into business after graduating. But thankfully, I got accused of making IT entertaining when I was in my sales and marketing role. I know, not that easy, but I'm proud of that one. And that's what really was the trigger, enabled me to carry on with all the different things I do now. I want to now help others open doors that they may not yet know exist. And you never will know exist unless you put yourself in a position where you can be heard. Whether that's in business, in public sector, in sport, all of it is the same. If you're silent, no one will know you exist and how good you are at things. You've got to put yourself in a position where you open those doors, at least so that you can knock on the doors and they know you are there. So that is what we do here at Open Doors Training. It's not about creating blueprints of presenters or media darlings or whatever it may be. It's about unlocking you. Instead of being the contained version of you, we want to get 110% of you. You probably exaggerate it by 10%. I'm sure I'm not like this when I'm at home on the sofa. The wife would kill me. But it is about still being you. And that is what we work on within all of our training. So come on over, opendoorstraining.co.uk. Let's have a conversation to see how we may be able to assist you going into, hopefully, a better year in 2021.
So my name's Tom Ingram. I'm competing in the British Touring Car Championship with Team Toyota GB. So the BTCC is one of the toughest championships around. There's so many quick drivers. So to get the edge, you've got to be looking for any little millisecond of improvement. So whether that be from training hard at the gym or having the best kit around, you've got to find the edge any way possible. So the thing I love about the Woodall products the most is the temperature regulation. And not only does it regulate my temperature and keep me cool when it's really hot, but when we're testing in the middle of winter, it keeps me warm as well. The feel of these is amazing. They're so soft, you know, you could wear this to bed and be more than happy. So the lower under has really helped my performance and reduce the effects of the heat on my body and the heat fatigue that I'm finding. That's where I'm finding a big improvement. So over the course of it doesn't matter if I'm testing, it doesn't matter if I'm racing, I'm just not feeling quite as fatigued as I would have been without it.